keep thinking we had some very opinionated meathead at the bar last night that was, they got everybody up on the line, throw it to the middle, with all his veins popping out of his schmedium jersey. All right, welcome back to the OneLife podcast. Let's go ahead and crack waters here first. All right. So today is Monday, January 27th, the day after the AFC and NFC Championships.
Yeah.
How'd you sleep last night?
Not great, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, man.
So, it was very fitful. Me just thinking back, like, damn, what could the Bills have done different?
Yeah. Yep. It was a pretty restless night for me as well. Just kept thinking about it a lot today. Final score of the Bills game yesterday was 29-32 Chiefs. Yep. Taking a look at the game last night, what do you think? What happened? Why did we fall short?
Oh man, it's a really tough one because it's very situational based. I think we lost two very key players on defense, which was we lost Benford and we lost Rapp. Obviously, we didn't have Rapp going into the game,
right?
And that really made our defense struggle. I don't want to cop out and say it, but we did kind of get screwed a little bit by the refs.
Yep. I mean, can't say for certain, but there's been talk about that all season as far as, if you got to beat the Chiefs, you got to beat the Zebras as well, right?
Yep, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I don't know I'm not like a conspiracy theorist guy. I don't think it's conspiracy to make them win. I think it's just the refs favor good teams and they give the benefit of the doubt to very good teams.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with that. Like you said, we lost Benford in the middle of the game. That was huge. Elam was a mismatch for whoever he was on, and he was on worthy a lot. You got the fastest player in the NFL, arguably, on our backup, Elam, and it was showing. They were sending the ball towards him, trying to expose him, and it was working.
Yeah, 100%. Pretty much every play that they threw at Elam, it was a completion for positive yards of some kind. The only way we were able to protect him was if we had a safety over the top or if our pass rush got there quick enough.
Yeah. Like I told you before we started, I did a little bit more analyzing the defensive side of the ball. So I'll go ahead and talk about the defensive side, and I'll hand it off to you for the offense.
Sounds good.
Okay. So mixed bag as far as success and failures go on the defensive side of the ball, right? There were some plays, we had turnovers. We stopped them on fourth down one or two times. Offense wasn't really able to capitalize on that. So, we had some good moments on the defensive side.
Yep.
At the same time, there were some weak areas that they were exposing. We could not hold Patrick Mahomes to the pocket. Greg Rousseau, love him, great player. Last night was not his night. He kept losing contain. Every time he did, Patrick Mahomes rolled to the right, went for yards. And, you and I, when we were watching the game, we discussed, they need to get a spy on him. They need to, get somebody watching him. I don't know if that is the answer, but they needed to do something to prevent the run game. But even if they put a spy on it, they were doing a good job on the passing game as well. Right. They were doing a little bit of the typical Josh Allen where he's rolling to the right. He has the option of going for the run or, checking it down to their receiver and going for it. And we had a tough time dealing with that.
Yeah, and it seemed like our defense was not as creative as it could be. And it seemed like Pat Mahomes knew every time we would blitz. And knew every formation that we had. I think it's one of those things where Pat Mahomes has played the Sean McDermott defense so many times that he can just predict what's going to happen, right? The one downside, the great part about Sean McDermott's defenses is they're very hard to attack when you don't have much experience with them. But when you have a ton of experience, they can be picked apart pretty easily. So he really needed to adjust there, and he just didn't adjust to Mahomes.
Yeah, and Chiefs looked complete last night.
Sure did.
They had the run game in both Kareem Hunt, who was doing most of the running. Patrick Mahomes was using his legs. Their passing game was on point too. They were utilizing Hollywood Brown. They were utilizing D-Hop didn't get much touches, but when the ball went to him, he got it. They were utilizing Worthy. Not the Chiefs that I have, talked crap on the whole beginning of the season. They looked complete last night.
Yeah.
And, just like all their other games this year, they did what they had to do to win. They squeaked out 3 points over us, and we weren't able to answer.
Yeah, and I mean, the Bills had their opportunities, right? They got the ball early in the fourth quarter with up by 1, right?
Right.
And if the Bills had scored a touchdown there and went for 2 again, they had a lot of missed 2-point conversions, but go for 2 one more time.
Yeah, how do you feel about that? I mean, because in the moment, it seems like the right thing to do, right? It's like, okay, if we go for 1, we're only up by 2. Field goal puts them ahead again. If we go for 2, we're up by 3. It's a big difference. It's a 2-score game.
Yeah.
In the moment, seems like the right thing to do. But how many did we miss? Did we miss 2 or 3?
We missed 2.
Yeah. So in hindsight, it's like, well, dang, I would have really liked to have those 2 extra points.
Yeah.
So what would you have had them do anything different? What do you think?
So I think on the first one, I agree with the decision because the reason we went for 2 on the first one was because the Chiefs had a penalty.
Okay.
And we accepted the penalty, put us on the 1-yard line, and we had not done a tush push yet that day.
Yep.
Right. And as far as the Bills knew, tush pushes were automatic.
Yep.
Right. So like when you have a play as automatic as that, or at least what they thought was automatic, I think you choose to go for it. So in that situation, I agree with it. The second 2 was a catch up going for 2. And that one I don't agree with. Right. Oh, hi, Mr. Tyson. Oh, hey there.
Mr. Tyson was upset about the Bills' loss as well.
Yeah.
In a bit of rage, I came home, and the first thing I did was remove Tyson's jersey. I was like, no, take this off.
Oh, poor buddy.
But no, I'm not mad at the Bills anymore. As far as, we knew it was automatic, and that must have been a really big shock to the Bills last night.
For sure.
Even going into the game, I was like, okay, we just need to get to the 4th and 1. It was always expected that we had a free play to get us a first down, and it got stuffed over and over. I think we had 1 successful tush push last night.
Yeah, or I think we should have had 2. But yeah, I think you're right. I think we had 1 successful tush push. We had a couple of other successful 4th down conversions that were not tush pushes.
Yeah. They did do a good job of mixing it up. After the second failed tush push, we started to backtrack and go with handing it to Cook, things like that. What were the Chiefs doing differently that other teams weren't, that they were able to stop the tush push?
I honestly don't know. I would have to watch each play like 100 times to figure that out. I mean, the first and most obvious answer is going to be Chris Jones.
Okay.
Right? Best defensive tackle in the league, and like he can just blow up an interior play.
Right.
The other big thing that they were doing is they knew that when we do it, we go over our left tackle.
Right.
And they just overloaded on the left tackle.
Yeah.
Right. One of my biggest problems is that we didn't have a fake tush push lined up. Right. Like you and I have talked about this before, where one of the best plays could be a fake tush push. Right. Where instead of running it, you like get in the formation and then send someone in motion. Then Josh Allen turns, throws it to them, and then they go. And if it's like Shakir or Cook or someone, and I'm guessing they're going to be manned up, and then they only have 1 guy to beat. And I trust Shakir or Cook to beat 1 guy.
I agree with you that should be something in the works. As far as we know, I think there's only been 1 fake tush push done, and the Eagles failed at it. But I do agree that is, especially if you're a team that's known for doing it.
Yep.
That's something that should be in the arsenal. Our tush push looked a little different last night than normal. It was almost like Josh took the ball and ran left a little bit, trying to find a gap going through, rather than just off the line being shoved to the left off the bat. It was almost a little bit more leading. I don't know if that was because we saw something on the Chiefs side that they were going to be able to prevent our traditional tush push, or if it was something new they were trying.
Yeah, so one major factor in our tush push is Josh Allen uses his hard count as a weapon in the tush push. And in Kansas City, he can't do that. He has to go on silent count.
Got
so
it.
that's another big factor of why I think one of the reasons that they were able to be so successful defending it, because when you can't do the hard count, it means your guys are a little bit more on a back foot.
Right.
And everyone's going when the ball is snapped versus when you have a count and you know when it's going to go based on Josh Allen's words, the entire offensive line goes at the same time when the ball is snapped. So
and Chiefs, tell me if I'm incorrect, have the loudest stadium in the NFL?
As far as I know, they are the loudest stadium in the NFL. It was once upon a time Seattle, but the Chiefs had I think they broke the world record for the loudest outdoor stadium. It's much more difficult to be the loudest outdoor stadium if you are compared to indoor stadiums, right?
Regardless, very hard to get a hard count off when you're in one of, if not the loudest stadium there is in the NFL. Let's talk about a little bit about, what was going on offense. Yeah. Why do you think we weren't able to? I mean, Cook was cooking, right? Yeah. Cook looked great last night. We had some touches to Shakir. Cooper played his part a little bit. What were we lacking on the offensive side of the ball?
So first, Cook was doing great. And one of the biggest issues that we had last night is we stopped handing it to Cook. Cook only had 13 carries last night.
Yeah.
Like when someone's running it for that many yards per carry, you just got to feed him, right? So you didn't know he was going to blow up like he did. But once he started to go do well, you got to keep feeding the man, right? And Cook goes on these heaters, right, where sometimes he just absolutely is annihilating teams, right? And the biggest problem I had is on those final two drives. The final drive, we didn't hand the ball off to Cook a single time.
Yep.
And the drive before that, we didn't hand it off to him very many times. I don't know the exact number of times that we handed it off to him on that previous drive, but the drive where we didn't get it on fourth down,
right?
We should have given it to Cook at least once there.
Yep.
On those two and ones, right? Because we had 3rd and 1, we tush push, we didn't get it. We got 4th and 1, we tush push, we probably got it, but the ref said we didn't. But
yeah, it was close. I mean, obviously the Bills fan in me was, very upset, and I was like, that's a first. It was very close, and especially on those, when they call it short, they have to be able to say it's without a reasonable doubt that, it was past there.
Yeah.
It was hard to say.
Yeah, my biggest thing is yes, I agree that it's hard to see it, and they normally go with the call on the field.
Right.
Right. First off, the two referees that came in were at different spots.
Yep.
And the referee that had a clearer sight was farther downfield, but the other referee's spot was given.
Right.
I don't know how they determined that. I feel like that should be transparent. But the other big thing, the NFL needs a chip in the ball. They need to have, we're using ancient technology to figure out the spot. We're depending on a person's eyes and a set of sticks to determine whether something's a first down. I
agree and disagree. I mean, it would take away the ambiguity, but a little bit of the excitement of football is the ambiguity and, trusting the human eye. But I mean, definitely for accuracy purposes, I wouldn't be surprised if they do go that way eventually.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It can't be. I don't know the tech for it. It might be more difficult than I'm saying, but it shouldn't be that difficult.
Right.
Right. I don't.
Another thing we were doing really well with Cook was, something that we don't really do too often, was the play action pass right back to Cook was doing really well. And for the same reasons that Mahomes was doing well on his feet, is because Josh Allen is a threat when he rolls out to the right, and he had that option of dumping it off out to Cook, and it worked extremely well. We did it twice and never did it again. I think we got first downs on both attempts that we did it, and we never did it again.
Yeah, when you put the defenders in conflicts, that's really useful, right? Where if the one you're talking about is where he fakes a handoff to Cook, Cook goes out into the flat, and Josh Allen follows him, and he's either has the option to run it or pass it, right? And usually there's only so many defenders out there, right? And the defender in the middle has to either choose to go after Josh Allen or defend Cook, right? If he goes after Josh Allen, he throws it. If he defends Cook, Josh Allen runs it, right? It's a no-win scenario for that defender, and you have to get those scenarios. The Chiefs did that all day yesterday.
Yeah.
And we just did not take it to our advantage.
To put a cherry on top of Cook's success last night, how about the effort on that touchdown? 4th down, on the goal line. Half a second later, if his knee had touched, we would have been short. Reaches out for a Michael Jordan play, just extends out for the touchdown. Absolutely legendary.
The body control in that, right? Where the first thing that hits the ground is the freaking ball.
Yeah.
In the end zone. He's diving, uses one hand to hold his body up, keeps the rest of his body up. Think about the core strength that takes to keep your entire body lifted with just your arms straight, diving and then reaching out and getting that touchdown. That was insanely impressive.
Yeah, fantastic play. I don't think there was a lack of effort anywhere on the field.
No, for sure not.
I think that the downfalls came mostly from coaching, honestly.
Yeah.
Coaching decisions. Josh was a little bit more nervous at the beginning of the game than I expected.
He did get settled in, though, I think.
He did.
Honestly, I don't think so. That last drive, I don't think any of those issues were mainly on Josh Allen.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the final 2 plays, right?
Final two plays.
We were 3rd and 10, I believe. 3rd and 10. We decided to do your favorite play in the book.
Wide receiver screen.
Okay. What is it that you dislike about that play? I know that we've discussed differing opinions as far as whether that play is good at all, or especially for the Bills.
I mean, I personally hate wide receiver screens.
Yeah.
In my opinion, wide receiver screens are never the right choice. If you want to do a quick pass, run a slant route, right? Run a slant route, run a quick out route, right? There are quick passes that you can run where it's not really an issue, right? If you do a quick slant route and the player's already running, you can still have some blockers in front or whatever you want, but honestly, you just got to get the player in space. With wide receiver screens, you're way too dependent on having 2 guys block 3, right? Let's say it's a wide receiver screen where you're in a bunch on the right and there's 3 wide receivers out there and there's 3 corners out there, right? You're depending on 2 wide receivers to block 2 corners and then your 3rd wide receiver to beat the 3rd corner.
Right.
Right? And okay, sure. Sometimes it works because someone like Khalil Shakir, who's really good at beating one guy, is out there. But the wide receiver screen they threw last night, they threw to Amari Cooper. And Amari Cooper's good at football, but he's not a rack guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't go juke someone out. He doesn't make people miss. He's a route runner.
Yeah. He's
a downfield route runner. And he's a technician. He's not the guy you throw to for a screen. And they also do it to their tight ends, right? And maybe you do it to Dawson Knox, who can run through people.
Yeah, that was they did that last night. And I think they did it a few weeks ago with some success, which surprised me, doing a screenplay over to Knox.
Yeah.
I think that. So where I've seen success with screens, like you said, Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel, players like Xavier Worthy are good with screens. And I think what it is that you have to have someone that's either going to pose a threat with their speed, right? So one thing I saw, luckily it was a drop ball, but one thing I saw for the Chiefs yesterday was Xavier Worthy was, cooking Elam. right? And so right before the play was about to go, Elon backed off the line of scrimmage because, he didn't want to get beat downfield.
Right.
You have that threat of speed. So then it leaves up open space for that screen to go and for Xavier Worthy, someone like Curtis Samuel, our speedster, to get going because they're worried about the threat downfield. Khalil Shakir, maybe not the fastest guy, but as soon as he makes contact with the ball, he's very good with his footwork. He's going to, create misdirection and be able to get past that third defender that like you talk about.
Exactly. And the other really important thing, the Chiefs are the best defense in the NFL at tackling, right? And screen passes thrive on missed tackles.
Right.
So you're like, even if I was okay with screen passes against most teams, it's even worse against the Chiefs because they're so good at tackling.
Right.
You have to take advantage of where they're weak, and that's in the middle of the field, right? The Chiefs blitz a lot, and they leave openings in the middle of the field, right? So a quick slant from Shakir or Curtis Samuel on a bunch of different plays ends up working really well, and that would have been a much better decision because the Chiefs did blitz on that play. So the short pass was the right call.
Yeah.
But you didn't give your guys an opportunity.
Right.
The other big thing about screenplays is it takes the decision making from Josh Allen's hands.
Yep.
Right?
And his legs.
And it takes his legs out of the so like the moment he throws, you call a screen, it immediately is like, okay, turn, throw. Right? And if you just taking that decision making out of his hands.
He's got so many weapons.
Yeah.
He's got his vision. He's got a bazooka for an arm.
Yep.
He's got crazy legs on him. All gone the second you decide that the ball is going to someone on the line of scrimmage.
Yep. And like I said, a slant or like some crossers or just something.
Yeah.
Something over the middle. Because that's where they're weak. They don't have very good linebackers. Ever since McDuffie moved outside to the outside corner, their nickel corner has been weak, right? And like, I don't know, just make a play inside.
Yeah, I'm laughing because whenever you keep talking about throwing it to the middle, I keep thinking we had some very opinionated meathead at the bar last night that was, they got everybody up on the line, throw it to the middle with all his veins popping out of his Schmedium jersey.
We 100% did. I was making friends with this guy. He was he was definitely a Schmeathead for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, he Benford gets on the field. He goes, "Who the heck is that guy?" Was it Benford?
It was Benford.
Yeah, he's like, "Who the heck is that guy?" And then who did he say was trash? Our best corner.
Yeah, it was Benford again.
Yeah.
He was
like,
trash.
he's not even good.
And I was like, "Nah, that's our best corner." But
it's just
he went a little too aggro, and I was like, "Okay, I'll leave this. I mean, I don't want to die today."
No, yeah, but after you corrected him, he must have deemed you as the guy that knows football because that's when he started buddying with you, and it was funny.
Yeah, you know those commercials with like the one nerdy guy that knows football.
You were the football know-it-all.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree. So bad decision making a screenplay, especially to the player that we sent it to. Follow it up with,
honestly,
with that fourth down situation. Talk about that.
So, okay, so right before the play, Kansas City calls a timeout.
Yep.
Right? It's a timeout by Kansas City. They have Steve Spagnuolo on defense.
What does that mean?
He is the blitz happiest in critical situations coordinator in the NFL. He blitzes everyone in critical situations, right? Yeah. So, like, you knew everyone in the stadium, all of the announcers, every single coach should have known that he was going to send an all-out blitz.
Yeah.
Right? It just depended on where it was.
What's the right play in that situation?
So you do a quick pass, right? Obviously, I hate screens. So what ended up happening, I've watched the video on this 100 times, right? The offensive line is supposed to block inside out, right? You're not supposed to allow pressure on the inside.
Right.
We had 5 guys on the offensive line blocking. Only our 5 offensive linemen were blocking. They sent 7 to blitz.
Yeah.
Right? So the offensive line was not going to be able to cover the blitz. right? But that also means you're going to have wide receivers open. And what we did is we ran crossers across the middle of the field with our 2 tight ends, right? We had Khalil Shakir running a orbit route where he goes in motion behind Allen and then goes back out.
Yep.
Right? That was the play to make, going to Shakir.
Okay.
The biggest problem with that is when you have blitzers coming in your face, which is what ended up happening, 2 free rushers coming right at Josh Allen from the right side. He can't turn and throw that orbit route, right? Like, he has to worry about getting away from those guys.
Where was he running the route? Off to the left?
Off to the left.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen's had blitzers right in his face on his right side.
Yep.
Right? What needs to happen there is you shift your protection to the right because you know your out is on the left.
Yep.
Right? So you shift your protection on the right, and then you make sure those guys on the right are blocked up. And then if you have free rushers, make sure it's on the left side so that Josh Allen can make something happen and then dump it off and then throw that to Shakir, and he can get the first down pretty easily because he would have gotten the first down if he got the ball.
Yeah.
Instead, what ended up happening, Josh Allen makes those guys miss, makes an incredible play.
Yeah.
One of the best passes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He's falling down, chucks it. Somehow he knows exactly where Dalton Kincaid is, gets it to him. Kincaid misreads where the ball is going. So if you look at the end zone view where you can see the quarterback and everything in front of him, you can see where Josh Allen throws it. And Kincaid's sitting there in the zone, and he misreads how the ball's traveling.
Yeah.
So he gets to the ball late, which is why he has to dive and go for that carry catch.
Yeah.
Whereas if he had read the ball's direction correctly, he could have run in the middle and then just caught it and then gone down.
Which I'm glad you brought up, because I think that it'd be very easy to see that as, a terrible play, whatever. Maybe it wasn't the best decision, but oh my goodness, did he put the effort in and make it almost, a miracle.
Yeah.
I have to assume that the ball maybe didn't go where it was planned for Dalton Kincaid's route. And he almost did it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't fault Dalton Kincaid at all for not making that catch. I mean, would it be amazing if he did? But that was a tough one, you know, and he almost got in the right position. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, obviously it was a very difficult catch to make.
Yeah.
I really want him to make that catch. It's a very tough catch to make. He got to it late. The problem wasn't his not like the diving catch where he tried to cradle it. Like, that is a very difficult catch to make, especially when the ball's coming sideways into the cradle, right?
Yep.
When you're doing a cradle catch and you're diving for it, you want your body in the way so you can like bring it into your body.
Right.
Right.
Almost go with the momentum. Is that what you're saying?
So like you want to be in front of the ball. So like, let's say you're running across the field and the ball's coming at you. You want to be in front of the ball. So like when you go to cradle it, you bring it in and it hits your body. Whereas that ball was going straight through, right? Straight through the side. So catching it like this is very difficult. So like the actual act of catching that was going to be very difficult for him.
Yeah.
Right.
Very sad end of the game. Honestly, I couldn't be more proud of the Buffalo Bills this season.
Yeah.
I mean, this might be the only season where we have very little games that we stunk it up. We stunk it up one game. If you really think about it, one game against the Ravens, that was the only game where we didn't look like a complete team.
Yep.
Even going into this game, I think we played well. It wasn't Josh Allen's best game.
No.
It wasn't his worst game. I think that we were just up against what, unfortunately, everybody hates to say, the Chiefs are good.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are good. It's an intimidation factor. There's a presence of the stadium. They're out there to make plays. Patrick Mahomes, just like we said in the last podcast, the Bills probably had some stuff in their back pocket that they hadn't shown. I'm sure the Chiefs did too, you know. And when you're playing at that level, you're that experienced, you're gonna have to put up a heck of a fight. Josh Allen kept saying, they're right there knocking on the door every single year.
Yeah.
To beat the Chiefs, you got to kick the door down.
Yep.
And he's absolutely right. If we're gonna make it to the Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl, we just have to we take from this experience, learn from it, and come back stronger.
One of the worst things for the Bills. This was going into the final week of the regular season.
Right.
It was the best record the Bills have ever had, right? But the Chiefs had one game better, right? Like somehow the Chiefs managed to not lose a single game except to us.
Yeah.
And home field advantage against Kansas City is so important.
Yeah.
I think we proved that, especially against the Ravens as well.
Right.
Like when we played the Ravens, I think with the Ravens, the Bills, and the Chiefs, the home field advantage is huge because all three teams have probably a 2-3 point advantage at home. And like, they're so even, like it was a 3-point game. If that were in Buffalo, I think the Bills could have ended up winning that game.
I agree. We're undefeated this year at home, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously we're not happy about how the AFC side of the bracket ended up. Let's talk a little bit about the NFC side.
Yeah.
How do you think the Chiefs match up about the Eagles, and what did you think about the Eagles-Commanders game? We'll start with that.
So, I mean, obviously the Eagles-Commanders game was insanely favorable to the Eagles side on first watch, but after going through it again, honestly, the Commanders stuck in it for a long time there until late in the third quarter. The Eagles kind of just blew it open because the Commanders kept turning the ball over. If the Commanders just would stop turning the freaking ball over, they would have been fine.
Yeah.
Like it would have been a game.
Was it 3 fumbles, 3 recoveries by the Eagles?
Yep, I think it was something like that. Like it was insane. Like I don't know I think the Eagles definitely thrived on turnovers in that game. But all that being said, Saquon is
a monster.
An absolute unit. Like he is an insane threat, especially behind that offensive line. So like, if there's a team out there that matches up well against the Chiefs, I think it is the Eagles.
Okay.
I think they can run the ball down the Chiefs' throat, and the Chiefs are not good defending the run. So, like, as long as you either put 2 guys on Chris Jones or run it the other way, like Chris Jones over here, you run over there.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles can run it down their throat, and I think that can be huge, right?
I mean, one, do you think that they can win solely by, exploiting them on the run game? And if not, do you think that they have the passing game to mix it up and, keep the run game a threat with how good the secondary is on the Chiefs?
I mean, I think they have the weapons in the passing game, and I think Hurts is good enough. Okay. I don't think Hurts is an elite quarterback, but he's good, right? Yeah. He's a solid quarterback, and he has some dynamic athletic traits. Right. So, like, I wouldn't put him on, like, the Allen Mahomes, Lamar tier of quarterbacks, but, like, he's definitely down on that second tier.
Yeah. A tier, not S tier.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, when you have that A tier quarterback, you can, and he has elite wide receivers like A.J. Brown and
Devontae Smith.
When you have those weapons, like, it makes it so that the Chiefs defense can't completely commit to the run game. And if they do completely commit to the run game, then you just throw it.
Yeah.
Right. So I think they have an offense that can do well against the Chiefs.
Okay. What about the defensive side? Obviously, Eagles have a fantastic defense.
Yes.
How do you think they specifically match up against the Chiefs?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I haven't really done a ton of research into the Eagles defense. I know it's good.
Right.
I just don't know where they're good. Like, do you know that one or?
Off the top of my head, I would assume that they have a little bit better of a running defense. I know that they have good guys on the defensive line.
Okay.
And I think that it's going to be another shootout. Honestly, yeah. I think that Mahomes and the rest of the Chiefs are going to rely heavily on the pass game. They find their openings, man. Just thought of something I wanted to talk about, but we'll come back to it. I agree with you in your analysis of Jalen Hurts. I think that Jalen Hurts the last time he went to the Super Bowl. I think that he, as a player, looked better. I think that the team maybe is a little bit more complete now that they have Barkley as a dual threat in the pass and run game.
Yep.
I still wonder if Jalen Hurts is suffering from some fear of injury with the Was it a hamstring injury that he had?
Didn't he get concussion? Wasn't that what it was?
No, I don't mean his injury this year. I mean in the past.
Oh,
I don't see Jalen Hurts using his legs as much as I think that he should be.
Right.
He's used to be quicker. And he just seemed to be a little bit more open to using that as an option. He still does well when he runs the ball now, but it doesn't seem to be as a primary part of their arsenal.
Right. Does he seem like more hesitant, more like I honestly don't know what his injury was.
I believe he had a hamstring injury a year or so ago. I wouldn't say hesitant in that it's visibly hesitant. I would just say hesitant in that the numbers are not where they were.
And maybe it's a subconscious thing where he doesn't really want to plant that foot and really sprint out towards the side. Maybe he just wants to like move but not go all out with it, right? Because he might notice something, feel something in his legs, right? You never know, right?
Yeah, because I believe if they use Jalen Hurts' legs even more, it becomes that very scary threat like Lamar and Derrick Henry, right? It's like that option becomes like very scary when it's like, oh man, if Jalen Hurts is going to take off or is Saquon going to take off, it gets them thinking, gets them confused.
Yeah, that's huge. I 100% agree. And like, I don't know, it could be a really interesting game, right? Like the biggest problem for Philadelphia, I think, is there's a bye week.
Right.
And Andy Reid off of a bye week always cooks some weird shit up.
Yeah.
Like he always does something. Like I don't know what it is, but Andy Reid's just so good off a bye.
He's a great coach, man.
Yeah.
This is what I was going to say before. I think that one thing that I noticed about the Chiefs this year is they have weapons against man and zone coverage better than they have in the past.
On their offense, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like Kelsey has always been great against zone.
Yeah.
Right.
Kelsey eats up zone coverage. He always finds a way to get open. He didn't get much touches last night, but they have Xavier Worthy. They have Hollywood Brown, who are great against the man coverage because of their speed. I think that was another part of the Bills' downfall last night is we didn't know how to cover their receivers because they were able to match up with whatever we were giving them.
Yep, for
sure.
sure.
And the Eagles are going to have to find an answer for that as well. Kelsey is going to eat if they're sticking to zone coverage the whole night, and on the same token, you got to worry about their speedsters.
Yeah, that's for sure.
How do you if I were to ask you who's winning, what's your final answer?
It's gonna be the Chiefs.
I know, man. I know. I was telling my fiance that she's like, I hope the Eagles just whoop the Chiefs. I'm like, you know what? I really hope you're right, babe. But
yeah,
I just feel like it's gonna be the Chiefs again.
Yeah. So I got in trouble with your fiance a couple of years ago when the Chiefs were playing the Eagles in the Super Bowl then, and we had what was it? Did we have squares? We had something where like it was predict this, and like the person who predicted most things correct won, and everyone else was rooting for the Eagles and picked the Eagles, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking and I'm like, the Chiefs are going to win this game.
It's the Chiefs.
Like I don't like it. I don't want them to, but they're going to win.
Yeah.
Like it's. They're just the best team. I don't know. I don't see anyone beating Mahomes this year.
I wouldn't be awestruck if the Eagles win. But I agree. I mean, and I think that, the favorite is going to be the Eagles or going to be the Chiefs. And we'll just have to wait and see.
Let's just say the thing I'm looking forward to most in this Super Bowl is the Kendrick Lamar halftime show.
Yeah, me too. Me too. All right, man. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I don't think I have anything else. Just we'll do one last go Bills for the season.
Yeah, man. I'm very proud of the Bills. Fantastic season. I think the future is still bright. We have gotten a more calculated Josh Allen, and he's going to be there for lots of years to come. I'm excited, interested, scared to see what happens with the other players around him going into next season.
Yep.
As long as, we got Joe Brady, we got Sean McDermott, we got Josh Allen, we're going to be in the game for a long time to come. And I'm excited. And I agree. Can we hit it on a 1, 2, 3?
Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Go
Bills.
Bills.
Let's go. All right. Thanks, OneLife. Make sure to like, subscribe, and we will be coming to you soon with different kind of content. So our idea going for the future is we are going to cover some off-season NFL stuff. We're also going to be covering the UFC.
Yep.
My passion for athletics has always been MMA, UFC. Adam's the expert as far as the NFL goes. So we're going to dive into both of our sports, bring more of that. Also expect some more life talks and discussions on various topics.
Yep.
We will make sure to make it easy for you to access those and put them in organized folders in the playlist so that you can enjoy all your OneLife podcasts in one place. And we hope to see you soon.
Yeah.
All right.
Super excited.
All right. Peace.
Peace.